Hey, good morning, friends. Doug Meyer here. Welcome to Morning Pause. Whether you're watching it in the morning or it's your afternoon pause or your evening pause, doesn't matter to us. We're just glad you're here. So today is a part two. We've never done a part two before. Last week we talked about happiness chasing, and I confessed, somewhat like an AA, that my name is Doug and I'm a happiness chaser, and I am disillusioned with that. All of that sprang out of a morning pause we did, weeks or months ago, in which I talked about my funk, my fall and winter funk, and that this year it was more extreme. And all of that together prompted me to dig into happiness, what makes me happy and what makes you happy. And so last week we kind of opened the door and said, you know what, let's name it, those of us who do it, and also acknowledge, maybe even in the form of a confession, that it is not fulfilling. That happiness chasing is somewhat like a hamster on a wheel, or us, I think I used the example of being on a merry-go-round and trying to grab the brass ring, that the minute you have it, by the time the merry-go-round goes around a couple of times, it's faded and it's just not, that. You know, it's kind of like a cheap happy hour buzz. It was a whole lot of fun when you got it. And then later on it wore off and you kind of felt like crap, and maybe especially the next day, I don't know. So this morning, here's what we're going to try to do. And walk with me, work with me. And as always, you know, if this doesn't apply to you, just listen and pass it on to a friend. I invite you to declare today you're going to get off the merry-go-round, that you're going to stop happiness chasing and refocus, repurpose, consider seeking with passion and purpose deeper qualities. And what I can promise you is that you will have moments of happiness, but that the chasing will relieve you, the not chasing will relieve you of a whole lot of anxiety. I came upon my research this week an interesting chart. I just call it now the happiness chart. It has a fancy theoretical name called the hedonic chart of life and happiness or whatever. But I'm going to use this to help, I hope, give us some comfort. See that center line that goes through there? That's our baseline. We all have a baseline. And it's about 50% of our happiness level, our contentment level. And here's the deal. It's kind of set by the time you're 25 years old, according to this theory. And it's made up of genetic stuff, our DNA. In part, if you think about it, we got our overall attitudes about living, both from our parents and their parents and their parents. We got it from our environment, the environment that we grew up in. We got it from the life experiences that shaped and molded and influenced us. And they say it's all kind of set by the time you're 25. And that takes about 50% of just the energy we have towards doing life. We know, you and I both know, folks who have a higher baseline and a lower baseline. Some of them we call optimists, some of them we call pissy pessimists. So, you know, it varies. It's going to probably have a ripple to it, right? And then if you'll see the wavy line, you know, that's probably more predictable than it is in real life. That reflects the highs and lows, the other 50%. In which this theory says that it's divided into two categories. 10% of our attitude about life every day is based off of reactions just to stuff. You know, hey man, I'm kind of bummed today because it's cold. It was good to be like spring and now it's cold. And so that kind of brings my happiness down. Other deeper stuff, right? Death of a loved one, loss of a job, loss of a relationship, loss of a pet. Man, that can bring us down, right? But they say that only really kind of occupies 10% of our happiness scale. That's left, that 40%, that's what you and I have to work with. That's influenceable by our attitude. You know, how do you see life? How do you see the things that come at you? And how do you see the things that come out of you? You and I both have friends, and at times we are the people who look at life as just kind of just crap. You know, it's just everything that happens is all about us, or it's big and scary and traumatic. And then there's other stuff that we see and we go, okay, I understand that. I'm continuing to process the death of my mom. I love my mom. She was 88 years old. She had a great and wonderful life. My grieving will go on, but I am grieving optimistically and joyfully now. Grief is an interesting thing. We'll talk about that another day. But I feel like my baseline has prepared me to deal with her passing in a way that isn't necessarily devastating. So, like I said, we'll talk about grief another day. So, bottom line of all that, you and I, we got 40% to work with. What are we going to do with that 40%? Well, here's my challenge to you, and I'm all in on this. I'm getting off the crazy train, and I am going to redirect my energy into more lasting endeavors. We'll call them contentment, passion, purpose. I think one of the consequences of that is joy and connection. Let's talk about connections for just a minute. Do you live in a community? And I don't just mean a neighborhood that has a name, Flower Mound, Plano, Oak Cliff, whatever. I mean, do you have people? Do you have a tribe? Do you have folks who you can call on? It could be 2 people, it could be 10 people. We were talking this morning about the value of connection, and I shared that I've been really fortunate to go on 2 pretty significant trips, one to Africa and one to Belize. By any measure, especially any Western consumer measure, they don't have stuff. They're not burdened down with stuff, but they have deep, lasting connections in their family, in their family's family, in their friends, who they rely on to do daily life. Man, they find deep and meaningful connection. What can you do to deepen your connections? A great idea, I think, might be to find places to serve, care for other people. Man, there's a great way to connect, right? Become a mentor at a school. Become a mentor at a nursing home. Give of yourself, and in doing that, you're going to find deep and meaningful connections. Or I hope you do. Another thing that I think will help kind of occupy our 40% is gratitude. Man, a lot of times when we think about gratitude, we think about Thanksgiving. But what I'm talking about is just day in and day out gratitude. Some of it sounds kind of trivial, but it's the stuff that we also take for granted every day. Today, for instance, if I sat down and wrote a gratitude list, it would start with coffee. It would include meaningful friendships. It would include my puppy dog, Toby. It would include my great partner, Wendy. It would include warm blanket last night when it seemed like it got cold in the middle of the night. Every day, you and I have things that we could add to that gratitude list. Health, peace of mind. I invite you to do that. I invite you to think about beginning the practice daily of making a gratitude list. And then lastly, one more influencer that I think could help on our tackling that 40% is just using that same passion that we chased happiness with, chase meaning and purpose. I know those are really deep words, and they're deeper concepts than they are words. What's my meaning? What's my purpose? I am convinced, as a 62-year-old guy, that I'm just now beginning to discover mine. That for the longest time I chased around all sorts of other doing, but it wasn't being. It wasn't the same passion that I'm discovering now that I can access. Maybe that's part of life. Maybe that's part of aging. I don't know. But I invite you to join me in discarding this happiness chasing and using that same passion to pursue contentment and gratitude, meaning and purpose. You know what? Let's try this. What do you say? Let's do this for the next month or so. And get back with me. Use the comment box there. Shoot me an email. Shoot Alyssa Robinson an email. And just let us know. Hey, Doug, this is working for me. Or, hey, Doug, you're whack. Either way, join me as we look for ways to find deeper and more meaningful life and get off the crazy train. What do you say? Let's do it together. All right? So I always like to end with kind of just a thought or a focus moment. For me, that always includes a deep breath, just a cleansing breath or a slow down, Meyer, it's all okay. Join me now. We're going to take a breath, and then we're going to close out with a prayer. So join me. Creator, sustainer, life force, energy that makes the world go round. Help me this very day to step back from all the crazies that I get to be a part of, or that I choose to be a part of. Walk with me, open my ears, my heart, that dark spot where I save things I don't want to think about. To think about what's my meaning and purpose. With whom am I connected? Draw my heart to gratitude. Man, I'm a fortunate person. Man. Help me be aware of that every day as I seek meaning and purpose in my life. Thank you. Amen. Peace. Hey, if you get something out of Morning Pause, we'd like to hear about it. We're always open to ideas, too. If there's a subject you'd like us to chase around, shoot me a note. Hope all of this has been meaningful for you. And in the meantime, man, have a great day, everybody. Take care.